Warning, the following show features stunts performed either by professionals or under the supervision of professionals. Accordingly, MTV and the producers must insist that no one attempt to recreate or reenact any stunt or activity performed on this show.
Hi, I'm Johnny Knoxville. Welcome to Jackass. Hey! Stop!
What is happening, guys? Stream Your Mind here, and today I will attempt to beat Dark Souls 3 at Soul Level 1. Since we all know the rules of a Soul Level 1 run, let's jump straight into this. But before I dive into this painful challenge, please consider subscribing to the channel for more challenge runs, and with that out of the way, we begin by doing what any sane person would do. Type in Dark Souls 3 Soul Level 1 on YouTube. Yamfa? Never heard of him, but he seems legit. After giving my character the first name that comes to mind, I chose Deprived as my starting class, Young White Branch as starting gift, and after creating the best imitation of XQC I could, I was finally ready to begin this amazing journey. After waking up in the Cemetery of Ash, I picked up some Gatorade and picked up my first Titanite shard and went straight to Gundyr. Here buddy, let me help you with that. I was just trying to help. I then returned with a vengeance and taught Gundyr some much needed manners. He didn't really like it, but at this point there was nothing he could do and finished him off without even a single scratch. First boss down. Before entering Flameless Shrine, I did the tree skip, first try as always, and picked up some homeward bones, the Estus shard, and traded one of the bones with Snuggly for the iron bracelets, and then picked up the covetous silver serpent ring. After sticking my coiled sword into the kiln and lighting the bonfire, I arrived in the high wall of Lothar. But as always, I had to go back to Firelink to buy the best fashion money can buy and reinforce my Estus flask. Back at the high wall, I picked up the gold pine raisin, ran past the wyvern, picked up my second titanite shard as well as the 3 fire bombs, stomped the crystal lizard for the raw gem, picked up the 3 black fire bombs right here, sneaked behind the Lothric's knight, and got myself the broadsword. I then met a new drinking buddy, but I think he had way too much to drink and passed out. I got myself some weed from my buddy here. He seems like he smoked a bit too much as well today. Grabbed my 3rd titanite, almost got killed by this Lothric knight, and as usual, I forgot to pick up the 4th titanite as well as the Estus shard. Came back for the key. Hey guys, mind if I join the party? Okay. Got back to the shrine and upgraded this broadsword to +1. Freed Grey Rat, which then gave me a pretty ring that raises defenses when my HP is low. Killed Grandma for her inheritance. Just a dirty old banner? Thanks, Grandma. And it was time to confront Vord of the Boreal Valley. Nothing to show here. I stayed underneath him and punished his negligence towards his funny bits, and used his breath attack as an opportunity to finish him. Once arrived in an undead settlement, I picked up some souls, said hi to Loretta, and took her bone, picked up the Estus shard here as well as the Ember, and got myself the 5th Titanite shard of the run. I then ignored Hodrick, got some bone shards as well as the rest of the goodies in the area, some new fashion and the Mortician's ashes. Opened up the shortcut and parkoured my way to the next bonfire where I found my 6th Titanite shard, which I then used to upgrade my weapon to +2 and turned it into a raw broadsword. I gave Loretta's bone to Grey Rat.
Heavens, she was already dead.
To further his quest and sent him to pillage.
Thank you. You will not be disappointed.
He was so happy about it. Back in the settlement, I got the Ember and played catch with my dad.
Let me in! Let me in!
Got to the Road of Sacrifice only to pick up the Brill Divine Tome for later. Remember guys, dogs are better than people. In the Crucifixion Woods, I picked up the Grasscrest Shield, got Dumb and Dumber to fall to their death. Went back to Firelink to buy a dagger and upgraded my Estus and returned to everyone's favorite area. Picked up the Estus shard here, a Titanite here, turned off the first fire, picked up another Titanite there and another one here, extinguished the second flame, picked up the bone shards. Can you please call them something that isn't shard? Picked up, you guessed it, another Titanite shard and used a quick step from the dagger to breeze through the swamp. Got the Dream Chaser's ashes, which I gave to the old lady for infinite tit shards, upgraded my sword to +3, burned some undead bone shards to increase the power of my Estus flask, went back to Farron Keep, rode the elevator to the top, found the not so secret passage and bitch slapped these 2 crystal lizards for some large tits and used them to upgrade to +4. I then had an argument with a crackhead. Now you know what happens when you burn crack into your pipe. Picked up the Estus shard. Alright, time to teach the Crystal Sage a lesson. You know what they say, second time's the charm. Alright, after getting humiliated, I went back to the old lady and purchased some charcoal resin. The problem with Crystal Sage early on is his one-shot potential, but I was doing so much damage at this point that I almost got him during his first cycle, as he won't teleport until he has one of his orbs over his head, and just like that, our third boss is down. After lighting up the cathedral bonfire, I picked up the paladin's ashes, which I used to get myself the Lloyd's shield ring, which raises defenses when HP is full. So back in cathedral, I was reminded why dogs are a man's best friend, arrived at the chapel of anticipation, got another Estus shard as well as some bones, unlocked the shortcut. Thanks, Dark Souls 3. I then opened up the cathedral and got the Lloyd's sword ring. Got back to the chapel.
Go on. Take it. Touch it.
Alright, Gale, I'll touch it, but I don't want to know what I'm touching. You pulled that out of your ass! DLC time! I picked up a large Titanite here, got killed by the game's camera mechanics as if it was my first playthrough, finally picked up the large Titanite from the Crystal Lizard, went snowboarding, picked up an ember, got Wilhelm to unalive himself, where I got access to the next area of the DLC, where I picked up 2 more large tits, opened Sister's Freed fight for later, picked up even more large shards, upgraded to +5 my broadsword, burned more bones, reinforced my Estus, got back to the painted world of Ariandel to fight off the big doggo, which should be easy with a +5 weapon, right? But then, something weird happened. During one of my many attempts, the doggo jumped and clipped through the mountain and got stuck inside of it. But since he could still hit me, I chose to take things carefully and use my fire bombs and the black versions of them, and not only they weren't enough to kill it, but this resulted in quite an annoying mistake later. The dog then just died on his own for some reason. This never happened to me. Is it a common thing? Let me know if any of you guys ever experienced this in the comments. Moving on, I then returned to the snowy mountains pass and got a Titanite chunk. When I got back in Firelink, I realized I've used all my black fire bombs against the wolf and I couldn't trade one for the last Titanite chunk I needed. Okay, let's look at the wiki to find some more black fire bombs. So there aren't any in the world. Sold by Unbreakable Patches. Alright then, after selling all the useless items I picked up and reached 20,000 souls, I bought the tower key from the old hag, went up the elevator and went down the elevator, but no patches. So I went back to the cathedral because I remembered that he would spawn once the boss has been killed. So after bullying the deacons for a little bit, I returned to Firelink, went back to the elevator, but patches still wasn't there. I swear this game just makes me want to jump off a cliff sometimes. Alright, so back to the wiki. Okay, so I have to light Rosaris' bonfire. So I did just that, and this time he finally spawned. Oh, Patches, I've never been more happy to see you. I was then able to parkour my way down without dying like I usually do, and after buying a black firebomb from our old-time friend, I murdered him cold-blooded and finally obtained my Titanite chunk. I then did the same with the standard bomb for the large tit and upgraded to +7. Time for a little dancing in the moonlight, if you know what I mean. The strategy for Dancer is to always hug her delicious booty, watch out for her damn grab attacks and her AoEs, and make sure to run away when she starts Beyblading all over the place. Here is how I did it. Before moving on to the next area, I went back to Firelink to talk to Sirius. No feed picks, 0 out of 10. I also bought some fireballs and I was off to the Consume King's Garden. Here I got another Estus shard, spammed this dude with grenades like it was a Halo 2 match, picked up a Titanite chunk here, here and here, opened up the shortcut. Would you mind? I have no time to play with you right now. Picked up another chunk and died while trying to get back to the bonfire. I then lighted the first bonfire in Lothar Castle, got attacked by one of the knights. You don't scare me. Here, take this, you simple-minded goon. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. Moving on, I found some more cool fashion inside this chest, picked up some more souls here and a Titanite chunk. I then tried to get this cool skip, but ultimately failed because, you know, this is the story of my life, and ended up breaking the armor which makes this skip possible. After which, I picked up more Titanite chunks here and dropped down for 2 more, upgraded to +9, went to Farron Keep where I turned off the 3rd and last fire, showed a dragon-shaped tree my infinite skills. Yeah, we traded in the end. And it was time for the Abyss Watchers. Oh, look at that. They are discussing manners in a civilized... Oh my god! Even with a +9 weapon, I still struggled with them. I kept getting ganked due to bad RNG and bad positioning. I mean, look at this. What the f*** is this? He just came out of nowhere! It was a disaster, but I kept trying, and turns out backstabs are pretty useful in this fight. Moving on to the catacombs of Karthus, I got through with strategic positioning.
Hey! I can fly!
I then tried to kill the skelly with the hat, but he ran away and got some help from his friend, and so I killed them all.
And not just the men, but the women. And the children, too.
The big ball of bones and skulls broke, revealing some undead bone shards, picked up the Karthus milk rink for some reason, moved on to the next bonfire, and it was time for big spooky skelly boss. And yes, I did die to him 4 times. Honestly though, it was just bad luck. Even when I rewatched the footage, I couldn't say what actually killed me. Anyway, just break his big bling blings and you'll be alright. They're coming. People are coming to call me a scrub in the comments. After that, I took a detour to Smoldering Lake, cheesed a Solaire and got myself more bone shards. I then wanted to get another Estus shard, but the game just thought otherwise. Thank you, Dark Souls 3. Alright, we all know what time it is. This is where the real Dark Souls 3 experience begins. Welcome to Irithyll. We have beautiful vistas that will leave you breathtaking. Randomly appearing dog-shaped crocodiles. Make sure to not get eaten. They are pretty susceptible to fire. After lighting the bonfire, I went to have another chat with Ceres. I then found her sign on the bridge where the Sullivan Beast was and aided her in the battle against Kraton, and she thanked me with the cat ring. In preparation to the fights I had in front of me, I thought it was a good idea to get a parrying shield, so I bought the leather shield from the old maiden, as well as the Abyss Watcher's fashion. Did the usual routine of burning my undead shards and traveled back to the Painted World DLC to light up the Sister Street fight bonfire, and after equipping the cat ring and vandalizing the bridge, I did the sickest parkour trick ever to be conceived. Not gonna lie, that made me feel like a badass. I then led my way down to the giant tree branches with ease, and then killed some tree creatures. Some people will call them treachers, but I am no dad and I don't make jokes. Anyway, this got the ladder to come down. Holy shit, this is a really long climb.
One eternity later.
What? I'm still here? It's been over 15 minutes. Oh, thankfully it's all over now. Good, even more climbing.
This is not okay. This needs to stop now.
Oof, time to catch some breath. And finally, after climbing the Mount Everest of ladders, I picked up the Titanite slab and upgraded the broadsword to +10. I then bought some embers in preparation of Osiris. Well, that's a great start, isn't it, boys and girls? But for real, I never had any problems with this boss. He has a few one-shot attacks, but I was lucky enough to never see them, and by just staying underneath him and panic rolling every chance I got, the Consumed King went down. Make sure you're always embered though. After spending my riches for some embers from Grey Rat and charcoal raisins from the Old Hag, I got back to the King's Garden where I picked up Path of the Dragon and reached the Untended Graves, because it was time for the champion himself. I adore this fight. It kind of follows a rhythm for me. Unfortunately, every time I get hit, I get taken out of that rhythm and I usually get hit again. And at soul level 1, well, getting hit usually means death in a fight. So I had to play it perfectly, and after getting close a few times, this happened. After defeating Gundyr, I went on to the Flameless Shrine to pick up infinite homeward bones, the blacksmith hammer, got killed by the floor for some reason. Again, thank you Dark Souls 3. Bought the Artorias armor set, picked up the Hornet ring, and then went back to buy the Priestess ring, which I previously forgot. Took a quick detour to the Cursed Rotten Greatwood, where I popped his ball sack with my fiery and pointy stick, gave the transposing kiln to Ludleth and got the Prisoner's chain ring. Back in Irithyll, I ran past everything like the coward that I am, went on to pick up the bone shards behind the gravestone and got invaded by Kraton, which upon dying he dropped the Dragon Slayer axe, which will be very useful a little way down the line. Before doing anything else, I went back to the Undead Settlement, made sure to equip the cat ring, dropped down right here and touched a woman for the first time ever in my life. Thank you Dark Souls 3. I then warped back to the shrine, gave the Divine Braille Tome to Irina, and bought Tears of the Nile as well as the Saint's Ring. From the Church of Yorshka's bonfire, reached the distant manors, got through the King House and killed the Mimic for the Estus Shard. A rat then decided to become my best friend and tried to give me a hug. In the profane capital, there was not much to do after picking up the undead bone shards, and after changing my look to be more in line with the current time trends, I greeted the Giant Daddy and made a successful suicide run to pick up the Storm Ruler. I can't believe the creators of Elden Ring copied this fight in their own game. And with Yorm dead, 2 of the main bosses were down. Once out of the profaned city and back in Irithyll, I picked up some ashes covered in shit, got past the Shrine of Amana, unlocked the shortcut to the Church of Yorshka, whipped out my leather shield to fight off the Pontiff himself. Ultra parrying mode activated. Nah, I'm just kidding. After that amazing fight, I went on to pick up the Easterner's ashes and went straight to Aldrich's fight, which it was one of the most annoying fights of the run. I had bad RNG right from the start, but the arrows in his first phase weren't as much of a problem as his dumb levitating magic orbs that would cause me to die more times than I would care to admit to. And the tracking of the arrows in the second phase is absurd, and after many tries I was barely able to defeat this slimy old creature for good. 3 Lords bosses down, alright. Upon returning to Lothar Castle, I fought the Cursed Hollows. Is this what life is really about? Constant violence? Will I ever be able to rest? For fuck's sake, stand up! I then bought some Titanite shards and some large shards in Firelink, cheesed the cursed dragon with fire bombs.
Kill-tacular.
Pick up more chunks, picked up another one just outside the same room, unlocked the shortcut to the Dragon Slayer armor, and got myself the Knight's Ring. Demonstrate to this Lothric Knight why size doesn't matter and that it's how you use it that is really important. After dying to the Dragon Slayer armor, I went back to the dungeons to pick up the Sancious Ashes, I think it's pronounced like that, as well as a Dust Crown for later, and bought myself a good stack of gold pine raisins, because I had a feeling that I would need them. I was now ready to fight off the Dragon Slayer armor, which is such a good fight in my opinion. I mean, look how cinematic this is. Yes, I died a lot and the elevator is so damn slow, but I simply love this fight, and being at soul level 1 made me appreciate it even more. Yes, his shield attack is also kind of bullshit, but it didn't bother me too much. I finally become Death, Destroyer of Worlds, or something across those lines. I spent the cash I got from beating the armor for more gold pine raisins, I then bombed the other cancerous dragon, and then wanted to take the plunge on it for more style points. Oops, wrong footage.
You know we aren't meant to exist in the outside world.
I got 2 more Titanite chunks, went back to Smoldering Lake to get another one from this crystal lizard, and finally entered the Duke's Archives, where I said hi to Big Head Logan and then said goodbye to Big Head Logan, unlocked the elevator, opened up the shortcut, picked up another chunk, dropped down right here to pick up yet another Titanite chunk. Once I arrived at the rooftops, there was another chunk waiting for me, completely ignored the gargoyles, picked up another chunk here as well as some more bone shards, ran past the Power Rangers and unlocked another shortcut. I then picked up the Hunter's Ring as well as another Estus shard and boned the hell out of there before the Fatso burgers with wings have lunch with my corpse. Back at the shrine, I upgraded the Dragon Slayer axe to +9, set up my rings to be able to wield it, picked up the hidden slab in the elevator and got my new weapon to +10, and infused it and turned it into a raw Dragon Slayer axe. I then thought to give Sister Free a go, but better if I come back later, because I had a couple of incestuous brothers to defeat. This was the hardest fight in my first playthrough, like I'm not kidding. I just couldn't get past these two. It took me months, but it only took me a few tries to beat them at soul level 1, so that is how far I got. Obviously the great damage from the axe helped a little bit, but just a little bit. Anyway, this is how things went down. Once the boss was defeated, I returned to Andre the Chat to reinforce my Estus for the last time and burned the rest of my undead bone shards, and I was finally ready to defeat the final boss. I still don't get why we get teleported to the kiln of the first flame, only to be teleported again immediately after. Like, I think it's contrived. Anyways, Lord of Cinders, and what do you want me to say? It wasn't as hard as the fight against Gurman in Bloodborne at BL4, but I still died a lot. RNG is a big part of this fight, and you gotta learn it. There's no going around it. You gotta learn his moves to the T, or almost to the T. Obviously, if you use Tears of the Night like I did, it'll be a little bit easier. But you don't want me to talk about it. You want to see it for yourself. And well, here it is, in all of its glory.